Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul. In this video, we're breaking down Return to Silent Hill. The new trailer has just dropped and it's packed with Easter eggs, hidden details, and a lot of info on the movie. So come with us as we wade through the mist and point out all the things you might have missed, eh? Nah, but the teaser's only 40 seconds long, so I want to play that before breaking it down. So yeah, roll on the teaser.
Something's happened here. Something really, really bad.
Hold the darkness, you can't keep it away.
Please don't go any further. You don't know what kind of hell you have to face.
Okay, so like many of you, I was a bit meh when I heard they were making a brand new Silent Hill film. Though I think the first one's one of the greatest video game movies of all time, and a breakdown on the channel now. The last one of the worst movies of all time, not even video game ones. However, what piqued my interest is the fact that Christoph Gans is directing this. In case you don't know, he's the guy who made the first film, and hearing he's behind this was what sold the movie for me. Not only was this a return to Silent Hill for the characters, but it's also a return for him. Now, what makes this interesting is that he said this doesn't actually continue the story set out in those first two films. They were an amalgamation of the games, and basically several things from across the titles brought under the umbrella of a movie, which a lot of films often do. However, he's described this as an anthology and sees Silent Hill as a place where multiple stories can be told. Gans has said that his sensibilities have evolved since that first movie and that he wants another crack at it. Which makes sense. Sean Bean's Christopher in those first two movies was clearly based off James Sunderland, but that's who's going to be the main character this time around. He's the protagonist of Silent Hill 2 and the plot's going to follow a similar motif. There, James is called back to the town after receiving a mysterious letter from his dead wife. He makes his way out to their special place and discovers the dark secrets of the town, and also himself. Silent Hill 2 is one of my favourite games of all time, and I've actually just been playing through the remake as well. So very excited to return here, but beyond that, Gans has said he's bringing in lots of different things. These include story elements for PT, which was the playable teaser for the cancelled Silent Hills game. Never forget. Anyway, the trailer opens with a shot of James waking up in some water. This is almost certainly Toluca Lake, which is the large, mysterious body of water that borders Silent Hill. James travels across it in the game, and it's a place that represents his inner struggle. For James, this lake is the drowned memories and the secrets he's been trying to hide from himself. Which I won't spoil, but if you know, you know. However, it has to be said that James never lays in it like we see here. I think it's just sort of a way to start the trailer, and it's likely him waking up after having been in a battle, probably, or escaping something. In what's a nice little meta joke though, we can also see James is wearing a blue medallion. In case you don't know, this is something you can only get in New Game Plus, so it's a nice little return to Silent Hill joke. James also wears his torch, which is something players done throughout the games. After that, we then cut to the title and get the big Konami logo, which, yeah, instantly lets you know they're involved with it, which I was actually really excited by. I know people hate the company, yeah, but I've been replaying the Metal Gear Solid games to get ready for the Snake Eater remake, so that was another thing that got me pumped. I normally don't care about logos, but I saw that and was hyped. Now, we then have a quick cut to an eye. Was getting my survival horrors mixed up, as I thought this was a Silent Hill game cover, but it's actually the cover for Resident Evil Revelations 2. I promise the Easter eggs will be better than that. Now from here we cut to James standing in front of what looks like a wall covered in faces or entities. This is a direct reference to the Labyrinth area from Silent Hill 2. In the game, this is a maze-like area within Toluca Prison. The walls themselves are a manifestation of James' most buried and tormented thoughts, and this comes to life in the surroundings and also in the enemies. There's then a shot of him in front of a static TV. This could be taken from many of the times you encounter a TV throughout the game, but James actually discovers the truth of his actions through watching an old videotape, which is possibly what's going on here. However, James does find a static TV with someone dead in front of it very early on in the game, so maybe it's a nod to that, and the dead figure there looks very familiar. Shoutouts to our editor Jaden, who also pointed out we then get what looks like the lying figures. These are acid-spitting monsters, and this also seems to be what's melting away their skin. We then get a shot of James using what looks to be the iconic pipe wrench from early in the game. Continuing this shot, we see one of the lying figures crawling away from him. This seems to be going into the sewers, so you probably want to follow him down there, mate. What's wrong with you? Get after him! Now, you never go into the sewers like this, so maybe he's just watching it scuttle off. We then see James crawling towards a burning building with ash falling, and this may be the Lakeview Hotel from the game. It doesn't look like it location-wise, however, I do think that's the case. If you look closely at the sign on the roof, you can see there's an L and a W. This is where James and Mary used to go all the time, however, when he comes back in the game, it's been damaged by a fire, which we may be seeing here. Angela also witnesses nothing but burning fire around her, rather than the mist. So this may be James seeing things from her point of view, which is a moment you get in the game. This appears to be what we see at the 16-second mark, as there's James surrounded by fire in a corridor. We then cut to a quick glimpse of a creature and see its shadow on the wall. This might be one of the various creeper bugs which you come across in the game. We then see Laura running through the hospital. This is a moment that's ripped right out of the game, and it's one of the most important locations that you visit. In case you don't know, Laura's basically someone who knew Mary, and it's strange seeing a little girl running about these locations, and she doesn't seem to notice all the monsters and stuff. But yeah, Silent Hill is very much a manifestation of things that you've done, your own personal hell, so her not seeing stuff, yeah, kind of plays into the character's innocence. Next, we then get what's probably the most famous shot from the game. That is James looking at himself in the mirror. He touches his face just like he does there, and they've recaptured that brilliantly. That's actually how you start off the game, and it begins almost like a dream. You're there questioning what's going on, and then decide to head to the town. James, of course, looks a little different, and he's got different hair and some slightly different clothes. If you're changing clothes though, mate, then you should have checked out our merch store right below the video. There we have our brand new Alien t-shirt, which is inspired by Alien Earth. We also have ones for weapons, including our play on the Wendy sign. Our Judge Dredd one as well, Pennywise, anything you see behind me, it's all there, and if you buy 3, you get 20% off, mate. So get there, it's calling you to buy. Now next we cut to a scene with a body being carried by some people. Not sure who this is, but it may be a cult like what we get in the first film. They didn't appear in 2, but they may be adapting the order from the game's lore. We then see hands reaching for James in the dark. This is very reminiscent of the Fleshlift boss fight, which you fight at Toluca Prison. Next, we get a wide shot of the town with red skies. This is actually the perfect sign that we're in the Otherworld. This is a darker version of the town and an extra alternate reality that's rotting and rusting. Next, we get what appears to be a doll's head rolling across the floor. However, it might be a person. This could be adapting the scene in the kitchen where James meets Eddie. There's originally a body in the fridge here, so it might not be the same, although the lighting's similar to that part of the game, so we're calling it that. Next, there's a shot of way too many of the nurses walking down the street. This actually reminds me a lot of the nurse scene from the first film, as Rose encounters Lots down a corridor, and it's one of the most famous moments from that movie. We then get a close-up shot of what I believe is Maria. She's someone James encounters in the game and looks eerily similar to his wife. We then go to James in what I believe is the same scene. Blood drips onto his face, and it's possible that this is the moment where the pair run from Pyramid Head, who we see at the end of the teaser. James just manages to make it to an elevator, and then she's grabbed by the creature. In the trailer, we can see something reflected in her eye, though it is difficult to make out what it is. I didn't know if this was a corridor or even Pyramid Head himself, but let me know below what you think. Shout out to Jaden again for also pointing out that in the close-up of James, his eyes also appear very dark. This could actually be a feature that they added in the remake, where James's eyes get darker the further you play through the game, which I would love to see them do here. Next, we see James walking past the iconic Silent Hill sign. This is featured in almost all the games, and it's something Gans himself used in the first film. There, it was slightly different, but it's something that you pretty much always need to show. We then end with Pyramid Head dragging his great knife, which cracks the floor below him. Honestly, this could be from anywhere in the game, but my feeling is that it's from very early on. There you go to the apartment block and see him standing behind a gate. He doesn't really interact to grab you, but it feels like this moment which ends the teaser. It's also very hard to say, but Pyramid Head's great knife here looks more like a standard knife rather than the half pair of scissors that was in the original game. Anyway, going off on a tangent there, but that wraps up the trailer, and huge thank you for going through it with me. If there's anything I missed or anything you think is different, then make sure you drop it below. If you want to follow us on Instagram as well, then make sure you check us out at Heavy Spoilers. Also, just to let you know, I am running a half marathon at the moment. Well, not at the moment, but we're doing it in September. I'm raising money for my local dog and cat shelter, and yeah, we're donating for that. So if you want to donate and help support a great cause, lovely little animals, yeah, all goes towards helping that and pushing me on to run even faster. So yeah, if you want me to run away, then yeah, that's a place to go. Anyway, huge thank you for watching this video. I've been your host, Paul. You've been the best. We've got a breakdown of Alien Earth on screen right now, and hopefully I see you over there. Without the way, thank you for clicking this. You take care, peace, and I'll see you at Silent Hill. Goodbye.